Welcome to Business 101, Introduction to Business, Chapter 6, Entrepreneurship, Starting Your Own Business. Chapter 6, the last chapter in Unit 1. And this, I think, is one of those shorter chapters. Unit 1 is, there's a lot in Unit 1. There's a lot in those chapters. 1 and 2, a lot in that chapter, a good bit in Chapter 5. So I want you to study hard, and I want you to be really ready for test number 1 that you'll be taking pretty quickly after doing this particular chapter. Okay, the good thing about this chapter is a lot of this chapter you already know a lot about. The chapter is entitled Entrepreneurship and Starting a Small Business. Now, you still get the good handouts. Chapter 7, as we start Unit 2, the handouts go back to what they were. Also, you should be looking at your study notes for Chapter 6, and if you notice, they're not real long. That's kind of encouraging too, huh? Okay. Well, let's see how we can do and get through this without being too terribly long, but learn some kind of important stuff. Chapter 6, Entrepreneurship, or being an entrepreneur, starting your own business. Some things that can kind of help you as you begin that. First of all, I would be familiar with what entrepreneurship is. Accepting the risk of starting and running a business. We've already talked about that a couple of times, haven't we? In Chapter 1, we talked about entrepreneurship, and we really talked about it a lot in Chapter 5 when we were talking about especially sole proprietorships. So I want you to be familiar with what an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship is. Now, this next thing that you see on your handout is a know. It's a couple of things that I want you to know. And I'm going to sit here. I'm sure I'll get up and get excited in a minute, but I'm going to start off by sitting here. Why people take the entrepreneurial challenge? Why do people want to be an entrepreneur? I want to be my own boss. I've already told you that. I want to be my own boss. That's one of the reasons. Excuse me. And he listed it here as independence. You want to be independent. You want to be able to do your own thing. The opportunity. Remember that chapter 2 on economics, and we talked about socialistic and communistic economic systems? There's still a lot of places in the world you can't just decide, I want to open up a cafe. I want to open up a manufacturing place. I want to do this. I want to do that. So number 1, I guess, is the independence. Number 2 is we have the opportunity in our mixed capitalistic economic system to be able to do it. Number 3, the challenge. Sometimes I just want to see if I can do it. You know, a lot of us are competitive in nature. A lot of us like challenges. I think I can do this. And of course, number 4, the profit. We want to be able to make a profit. So that's why people take the entrepreneurial challenge. I've listed them here for you, and I want you to know them. Now, that's why, but this next thing I want you to know is, what does it take? It's hard work. It's tough. Okay, so let's talk about those things. Self-directed. Nobody's going to tell you when to open, when to close, when to order, when to do this, when to do that. You're the one telling other people if you have employees. You got to be self-directed. You got to make sure that you do the things that have to be done, and you do them when they have to be done. It's kind of like this class. This class is moving really fast, huh? And a lot of material, right? You can't wait till the last minute and do this. You got to be self-directed. That's the thing about online. You really, really have to direct yourself. Number 2, self-nurturing. You have to believe in what it is that you're trying to do. You ever heard of Sylvester Stallone? I know you have. How many of y'all have seen a Rocky movie? Rocky 1, 2, 3, Rocky 57, Rocky 109. There was a lot of Rocky movies. Okay. Now, if you know a little bit of the backstory about that, Sylvester Stallone, that was his. He wrote that movie. I mean, that was his. It wasn't a movie when he wrote it, but that was his story. It came up out of his head. Okay, and he wanted to get that to the big screen. He believed in Rocky. But he was rejected a number of different times. They would not produce and bring that movie to the big screen. But he believed in it. He believed in Rocky. And not only did they not want to bring the movie into the big screen, but he insisted that he would play Rocky. And it was kind of like, this guy talks funny and he's not insanely handsome, you know. So it took a while. Well, finally, he was able to convince someone. He was able to bring it to the big screen. Of course, the rest is history. It won the Academy Award that year. Rocky II, Rocky III, Rocky IV, I think Rocky V. Then in 2000, and not that many years ago, the Rocky Balboa movie, and then we had the Rambo movies, and then we had the Expendable movie. I mean, and he's become a mega superstar. I looked up his net worth just for fun, about $500 million. He's doing okay. He's doing okay. But at any point in time, and if you ever watch the original Rocky movie, Rocky starring Sylvester Stallone, written by Sylvester Stallone, screenplay by Sylvester Stallone, co-producer Sylvester Stallone, and the same thing is true for like the Expendables and stuff. Sylvester Stallone, very self-nurturing. He believed in what he did. Number 3, action-oriented. You got to get up off your best intentions. You got to put your feet to your project. Highly energetic, that kind of goes along with action-oriented. You've got to have high energy. And tolerant of uncertainty. Look, starting a new business, there's uncertainty involved. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Are the things that I know? You know, one of the things about this pandemic we're in, this coronavirus, one of the things that's so scary about it is the uncertainty. We don't understand all there is about it, but we don't have any choice. I mean, it's here. We got to make it through it. Well, it's almost like that way with starting a new business. You know, if you want that new business to start and you want to make it through it, there's going to be some uncertainties along the way. I have myself personally, uncertainty bothers me a little bit. That would be one of the main things about owning my own business. And I have co-owned a consulting business at one time. We did consulting work for school boards and that sort of thing. Did very well with it, enjoyed it. But there wasn't much uncertainty there. We didn't have to spend money until we got hired. When we got hired, we knew we were going to get paid. Okay. But those are some of those are things it takes to be an entrepreneur. Tolerant of uncertainty, highly energetic, action-oriented, self-nurturing, and self-directed. I want you to know what it takes, and I want you to know why people take the challenge. Okay? Government sometimes can do some things to help small businesses. And so I've listed a few things here that government can do to help small businesses. They have something they call enterprise zones. Okay. Let me give you an example, and that'll be a good way to explain it, even though we've explained it here. The city of Monroe would like to get more people downtown, a rebirth of downtown Monroe, a rebirth of downtown West Monroe, bringing people back out of the suburbs. So to do that, they give businesses certain incentives. If you'll come back and open your business in this particular area of the city, we will give you tax breaks. We will give you maybe different types of assistance with getting your business out and recognized. We'll give you some other breaks, maybe as it relates to employees. We'll do special things for you to help you get your business up and running if you'll put it in this area. That area is called an enterprise zone. Specific geographic areas to which governments try to attract private business investors by offering lower taxes and other government support. It's a win-win. Hopefully you can put your business in, I know downtown West Monroe, they've gotten that designated as some type of a special designation. If you've been to downtown West Monroe, there's a lot of work, a lot of activity going on down there, a lot of change going on, a lot of excitement going on. And so a company moves into downtown West Monroe, they get caught up in the excitement, and it's good for the company. It's also good for West Monroe to have a rebirth of downtown. Okay, a second thing, incubators. Centers that offer new businesses, low-cost offices with basic business services. Sometimes a governmental unit, a city or a police jury, they may buy or lease a building. And in that building, they will put basic equipment that's needed to do business. And they may hire somebody to run that building who has business experience. And let's say I want to open up a building. I want to open up a building and I want to start producing a particular product. Okay? But I don't really have a place to open my business. I don't have much to start. You can lease a portion of that building from, let's say, the police jury for a very minimal amount. You already have most of the equipment there you need as far as communications and stuff. And there's somebody there that will help you understand how to do a business, how to operate a business, how to help make it successful. That, incubators, something chicken farm, you put chickens in an incubator, help them grow, that sort of thing. That's the idea. It's centers or places where governments set aside space where people can come in, and then when their business is going well, they can move out on their own. That's an incubator. I'd be familiar with what enterprise zones and incubators are. Business plan. I go to bed one night, and in my dream, I have a dream for a great business. It's wonderful. It's a great business. So what do? I'm so excited, it wakes me up. Well, if I'm smart, the first thing I'll do, I'll run over to my computer and I'll start typing up everything about my business. I'll start typing up stuff about that. I'll put that idea that came to me in writing. Now, if you look at the definition of a business plan, a detailed written statement that describes the nature of the business. What kind of business is this going to be? The target market. Who am I going to try to who my customers going to be? Who's my target market? The advantages the business will have in relation to competition. Here's how my business is going to be different from other businesses, and different things like that. Excuse me. Now this chair seems squeakier than usual. I'll try to be still. Now, okay. Looking in the text in chapter 6. This is kind of a business plan. Just this page right here. And what's in a business plan? The executive summary, the company background, the management team, the financial plan, the capital required, the marketing plan, the location, the manufacturing plan, the appendix. In other words, you're trying to put into writing everything that you can about your business. Because what happens when you put it in writing, you think it out. You think through it. Who's my competition going to be? What's going to be my competitive advantage? How many employees am I going to need? What kind of financial resources am I going to need? Specifically, what is it I'm going to be doing? Who is it that I'm going to target? Just be as specific as you can. That's your business plan. This is my plan for how I'm going to do business. And I will tell you this. If you ever go to a bank or something like that to borrow money, or to another place, and I'll tell you who that is in just a minute, and say, I need to borrow $50,000 for a new business I'm going to start. That banker, he or she's going to look at you in the eye and say, I need two things from you, your financial statements and your business plan. And you better have both. You've got to have financial statements on yourself, and you got to have a business plan. I hadn't written it down. You hadn't written it down? No, but I know in my mind what it's going to be. I can't read your mind. I'm a loan officer. I've got to read the plan. Okay. So that's what a business plan is. I'd be familiar with what a business plan is. Now, I talked about going to the bank to get some money. Good place to get money from as a possibility. There's something also called venture capitalist. Now think about this. You are a business person. You have been successful. Maybe you're even retired. Don't have to be, but maybe. All right, so what do you want to do with your money, that you have? Well, a lot of times people invest their money. Just like you here are you're trying to invest into a business, to start a business. You're trying to invest yourself in that business, and you need resources to help you. Well, there are people out there that have been successful, and they have money to invest. Now, how could they invest that money? They could put it in a savings account. They could put it in a certificate of deposit. They could buy that stock we were talking about, become an owner in CenturyLink, buy 1 share of stock. Or they could invest in a business. I could go to someone and say, sir or ma'am, here's my idea of a business. Here's my financial statements. Here's my business plan. Here's what I need help with in getting started. And that company or that individual may say, yeah, we will lend you the money to get started. Now, we want a repayment at some point in time, and we want a percentage of the profits. But, again, it may give you that opportunity. And I have several friends that I know who have gone to what's called venture capitalists. These are people that will help finance your business for you for a percentage of the ownership. I would like for you to be familiar with what venture capitalists are. Individuals or companies that invest in new businesses in exchange for partial ownership of those businesses. It's good for me who's trying to get my business started. And look, if my business is successful, what a great investment for that venture capitalist. Small Business Administration. The United States government tries to help small businesses through the Small Business Administration. There's a regional office of the Small Business Administration over on the ULM campus. If you ever really decide you want to start a small business, you might want to go over and talk to the people at the Small Business Administration regional office on the ULM campus. They can help you with location and demographics and all this kind of stuff. U.S. government agency that advises and assists small businesses by providing management training and financial advice and loans. So the U.S. government's contribution to small business, a major contribution is the Small Business Administration. Okay. A couple other thoughts. About 80% of U.S. workers find their first job in small businesses. Isn't that interesting? Small businesses are usually considered 250 employees or less, 500 employees or less. It depends on who's doing the definition. But about 80% of Americans start work in a small business. So small businesses, and that's something else I want to mention. Small businesses are big business, are really, really big business. And a couple of things I jotted down. I'd be familiar, of course, with what venture capitalists, small business administration. I'd be familiar. I don't do many dates or percentages and stuff, but I would be familiar with about 80% of Americans start working in a small business. Let me go back to sole proprietorships and stuff. And when I was talking about sole proprietorships, partnerships, and corporation, I don't think I mentioned this, but it kind of fits in with this chapter. Of sole proprietorship, partnerships, and corporation, which do you think there's the most of? If you guess corporations, wrong. So, sole proprietorships, you win. There are many, like 80% of all businesses are sole proprietorships. And that's not exact. I don't want you to be familiar with that percentage. I probably shouldn't have used that percentage since I just used it for something else. But the vast majority of businesses are sole proprietorships. The mom and pop stores, that sort of thing. However, which of the three business forms do you think takes in the most receipts, the most revenue? Corporations. Corporations, I mean, can you imagine how much revenue Target and General Motors and Ford and Microsoft and Walmart and CenturyLink and these people take in every day? So I would be familiar with the fact that there are more sole proprietorships and other forms of business, but there are more revenues taken in by corporations. Made me think of something I mentioned earlier as I finished, and I'm finishing chapter 6. Diversity. Our nation is becoming more and more diverse. And I think that's a good thing. And I think as our nation becomes more diverse, businesses have to become more diverse. And one of the great ways for businesses to become more diverse is our diverse population starting more and more businesses. So as more of our diverse population starts more and more businesses are automatically going to be more diverse. And they're going to be businesses that can respond to the diversity of our nation. It looks like that virtually everything I wrote down from entrepreneur down All of that is a be familiar with, except for why people take the challenge and what does it take, and those things are no's. Ladies and gentlemen, you have finished what I would consider to be the most comprehensive part of Business 101. A lot of material in there. Study hard, watch the videos, maybe rewatch a video of something you're not sure. Make sure you know the no's, you know the be familiar with. Make sure you've looked at the handout, the study guide for each chapter. You got to get off to a really good start with Unit 1, Test Number 1. Do great on Test Number 1. Understand the stuff here, and you're going to be in great shape as we go through week 2, 3, and 4, and then real quickly finish up Introduction to Business, Business 101. That takes care of it. Good luck. Study hard. I'm expecting good stuff. Okay, I really, really am. All right, let me do the loud clap for my executive producer, Ryan Pierce, and we will be finished with Unit 1, Chapters 1 through 6. Good luck on Test 1.